Alrighty, so welcome to episode 4 of Respectfully No. Today's guest is a woman who operates in sort of like a league of her own. Sonal Vara, co-founder of I Am Entertainment, the agency quietly running the show behind some of the biggest names in the world. We're talking Beyoncé, Priyanka Chopra, Mariah Carey, and I think a personal favorite, Kevin Hart. And that's just a warm-up. But what I admire the most about Sonal is not the roster, it's the way she's built power behind the scenes without ever chasing the spotlight. She's redefined what leadership looks like in an industry that rarely makes space for women, and she's done it with intention, clarity, edge, and grace. Sonal Vara is in the studio.
Wow.
Welcome to Respectfully No.
What an intro. Can I go now?
You know, a lot of people have been asking me every time I do my intros, they're like, are you ChatGPTing this?
Yes.
And I'm like, no, how can you come up with something that cool? I must know you for that long.
And I have to say, out of everything I've done, whether it's press or podcast, that letter you sent me was so special.
You know,
it just sings to who you are, and I'm so proud of you.
That is so sweet. That means so much because I actually designed those on my own.
Yeah.
So every time I send it to the team to send to a potential speaker.
But it was the thought and the intention behind it, and you know, the time that you took to curate and pick your guest. It means a lot.
That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. That's the idea, to put a little smile on your face before I put you in the hot seat. But anyways, Sonal, now I don't know how long it's been that I've known you. Must be eons almost. You've probably seen me go through every single ugly teenage phase that I've had. And here we are, you know.
I'm not that old, Janet.
Well, I am a little bit. Tad bit. Sonal's a vampire. She doesn't age. I want to take it back to the start a little bit. When you first entered the entertainment industry over 2 decades ago, I'm assuming, what was your biggest, what am I doing here moment? And how did it all start? And I know you kind of gave me a little snippet when I came into the studio now. We have a very secret special guest in the studio today. We can't disclose, but we can see her. And so you were giving me a little insight into that. So,
you know, it's an interesting question.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. How did I get here? What was that moment? And I'm not evading the question. I want to be as honest as I can
100%.
with you. I have always done things with a quiet confidence and intention behind it.
I love that. Quiet confidence.
And that came, I have to say, from my parents from a very, very young age. You know, my mom got married to a very progressive Gujarati family. We lived in Zambia, very modern, but she got married young.
Yeah.
You know, she was 20, she had me at 21.
Wow.
She didn't get to fulfill a lot of her dreams. She was studying to be, a marine biologist.
Wow.
So she kind of always pushed me, my siblings, to live out our dreams, to never compromise, to kind of put ourselves first in that way.
Yeah.
Education was first, dreams were second, career, and then marriage. So I kind of grew up knowing that and nothing else. So when I entered my career, like most people, I didn't know quite what I wanted to do, but I knew what I was good at. That was the communication skills, the people skills. I loved being around people, telling the stories, hearing their stories.
Yeah.
And so when I started in events, and my first event, like literally day one, was putting together a showcase for Elton John and Amy Winehouse.
Oh my God. Talk about winging it on the first day of school.
Literally. And it was almost fake it till you make it.
Wow.
So I went in with that.
I'm getting goosebumps because I was not expecting you to say Elton John.
Literally. And you know, you'd hear his name and I had no time to think, oh my God, it's Elton John. It was my first job. And so I had to make a success of it. And that was my priority.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, how did I get there? It was more like, how do I stay in it?
Yeah. How do I sustain this?
How do I sustain it? How do I stay in it? How do I show that I'm meant to be here?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the lens I took.
And I mean, you know, I've seen you on the work field and a little off the work field as well. You are someone, and as I said in my introduction as well, you are just someone that is so composed always. And I said this before the camera started rolling as well. How do you manage to be in an industry that is constantly it's like a pinball machine. You know, there's always something going on in your day, in your night, on your phone, on your WhatsApp groups. And yet you manage to be this lady of composure who just kind of, like I said, you know, whatever you're having, pass it on. Because
it's what do they call it? The swan reaction.
Oh,
you know, you're a
Lord.
swan on top and
Yeah.
paddling like a mad person
well,
behind.
you know what? You are the
under
coolest
the water.
one I have ever seen and known. So how do you juggle all of that craziness?
It comes with experience. It comes with the territory, but also when you're in an industry or in a job that it's not a regular 9 to 5. You're not just a PA to someone or putting an event together. There's so many different facets to it.
Yeah.
You naturally have to be the calm in that storm. Because you're responsible for getting the talent there on time or delivering to your client. Now, if you're effectively the middle person, you have to keep that balance.
And
you
I think,
literally do, because you can also get away with a lot when you're calm.
yeah,
You know,
that's
the
so
reaction
true.
you give to other people is the reaction you give.
Yeah. And I think
back.
that's just a life lesson as well, right? I mean, I'm a Cancerian, and I just found out you're a Libran, and a lot of my Libran friends are very much like you, very composed, don't react to anything.
Someone shouts at you, you don't shout back at them.
Yeah.
Right? You try and diffuse that situation.
Still something that's taken me a while to learn, though. I remember I would always give an action a reaction. And my husband back then, when he was my boyfriend, would always say, you don't need to react to everything.
Exactly.
You know, like, if I'm being crazy,
Take a
you don't
minute.
need to be crazy. And I'd be like, but if you're crazy, I can be crazier. You know,
Look,
like
I wish I could tell my 18, 20-year-old self now is take a minute. I was so quick to answer every email and get it all done.
Yeah. It's okay.
Take
It
a
doesn't have
minute,
to
get
be
it
all
done. But with that comes thought.
Yeah.
With that comes experience and clarity.
I mean, I completely agree with that. Moving on to my next question for you. So, being a woman at the helm of Middle East's first female-led entertainment management agency, what were some of the challenges that you had faced stepping out of, your comfort zone, which I know is the UK and the US?
Yes.
And moving to a completely new city and a region almost.
You know, it's a great question, and the answer is probably for people outside of the UAE listening to this.
Oh, wow. Take notes.
Very, very different to what they'd expect. It's harder to build yourself as a woman in the States or in England than it is here.
Oh, wow.
This is a new country. It's 50 plus years now. It doesn't have the systemic baggage that Europe, Australia, the US, the US has.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of prior baggage of the inequality of women and men, and there's still
so much stigma, yeah.
Here, we don't have that. You know, women are given the same opportunities as men. There isn't that pay difference. There isn't that scale. So I almost came here with a clean slate of creating what I wanted to create.
So it was almost like no one was holding you back.
No one was holding me back.
That's
the only person that's going to ever hold you back
is you.
Is yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
and in that process of moving from the States and the UK and then coming to Dubai, was there ever a moment where you said to yourself, I wish I did this. I wish this was my first step. Or were you happy that you had?
No, you need the experience, especially as a woman.
Yeah.
Because look, I Am Entertainment now is, you know, it's a company on its own.
Yeah.
I am the CEO, but it could run without me. But what I brought to the table is the experience of having gone through challenges. Challenges
100%.
make you stronger. And even now, when, you know, we deal 90% of our business is stateside business, which still has some of those old archaic.
I still have a petition to move Kevin Hart to Dubai. So if you're watching this, Kevin, please move to Dubai at some point.
It's coming.
Okay. Oh, you didn't hear it here first. Okay.
Yeah. The challenges prepare you. Like I said, 90% of our business is stateside.
Yeah.
So it's opened my eyes of how to tackle those challenges now.
Yeah.
I think being a woman in business is always going to be difficult, but those barriers are breaking down. The glass ceilings are coming down.
Yeah.
You know, my husband, who's now the managing director of the company, joined me. He
Wow.
joined my company.
I would like to
So,
drum roll.
you
But
know,
we love Ash.
Yes, we love Ash. So it's changing. Those
Yeah.
stereotypes are changing.
No, 100%. And I also think, I mean, I think from the time that I got to know you and started getting to know you, I think, and like I said in my intro as well, you led with so much integrity and grace that it never was about, I started this and I did this and I launched this and I brought this to Dubai. I mean, there are so many times. I remember when Beyoncé came in for the opening of the Royal Atlantis. My friends were like, oh my God, but this event, like, who got Beyonce? And I was like, I know the girl that got Beyonce to Dubai. She's a friend of mine. And they'd be like, who? Where? And I'm like, this is Sonal. She is so understated luxury that it's almost like, yeah, I did it. I'm going to go home now. Enjoy your night. And I love that about you. I love that, like I said, it was never through the spotlight. It was that quiet confidence that you said initially. So... And you inspire me every single day. You've worked with, of course, global names. You've built an empire. But staying a little on topic, because, this platform is called Respectfully No. Was there ever one, and I'm sure there may have been quite a few respectfully no moments that you have had in your career, and maybe one that stands out and you would love to share, if you would like to share?
There's been a few, Janet.
Okay.
There's been a few, but it's come with time that I now take pride in saying respectfully.
I love that. That's why we had to add respectfully in front of the name of this podcast.
It's saying no is not easy.
Yeah.
Especially when, like you said, you are a woman in business, you naturally have something to prove.
And it's also people pleasing, right?
Yes.
Like you just have to be the good person. Always.
Exactly. So it's not easy to say no. I think the first real experience came when I was offered someone offered to buy the company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Someone is a very big entity offered to buy the company. It's, that's what you're aspiring and want to happen. And it was a very quick, respectfully no.
Wow.
And the sort of repercussions that came with it, and oh my God, what have I done? I'm not going to get that offer again. Oof. No one's going to want the company again. Now we have to fundraise and go to the next stage. But in that instant, it gave me a lot of power as well to say, this is something I want to build. Yeah. This is that you are not going to change the integrity of the company. You're not going to change the USP of the company, because it's something that stands for something. And I think the reason we have been so successful is because we do have a point of difference. There's so many bigger conglomerates out there, competitors in the region, outside of the region, and we've stood the test of time for that reason. And in that moment, I knew when I said, respectfully, no, it wasn't about the money. Yeah. It was about building.
And I think, exactly what you said in that moment where you're like, what have I just done? Yeah. Did I make the biggest mistake of my life? Yeah. But then again, I think I've always believed in sort of spirituality, and there's a reason it's called gut instinct for a reason, right? Yes. I mean, when you think from your gut, it's probably because that's your first reaction. And so that was your gut instinct.
And don't be afraid. When we have an office in LA, I spend a lot of time there, and I cannot tell you the amount of people that have come and said, you have to meet X, you have to meet X. They are the biggest agent in the industry, in the acting industry, in the music agent. He's a super agent. You have to meet him. Blah, blah, blah. I'm setting it up. And respectfully, no.
Respectfully, no. I should start making stickers and just handing them out to people, because
you don't know that's going to be a mistake in your career.
But how do you know that?
You don't get to dictate my career.
Exactly.
I've built my career. I've built the company. You don't get to say that.
More power to you.
And that kind of drove me to really stick to my guns and say, I know what we have created. Yeah. I know the team that we've created, and I'm gonna say respectfully.
I absolutely love that. I think there's so much power in protecting your peace and protecting what
And you don't have to
built.
be everywhere and anywhere and meet everyone.
That is something that I have really tried to incorporate in my life the past few years. And I think I don't have to be everywhere. And if I don't want to be everywhere, respectfully, no. Because there comes this social pressure of, I don't know how you must do it. You're probably like, I mean, how can you be in LA and New York and Miami all at the same time?
You prioritize. You prioritize, you delegate.
Yeah.
I'm 45 now. It took me a long time to
That is crazy because
to delegate.
I was going to ask you when your 25th birthday is.
Oh, I love you. When's your 21st, love?
This makes me happy. Sonal, I must meet every day for a little coffee. No, but that makes me so happy to hear. And I think it's one of the reasons why you've been such an integral part of my journey through knowing what I wanted to do. And I remember when I was leaving sort of the fashion world, not left it, I'll still be in it, but when I was giving up that whole influencer kind of space, I was like, I don't know who I'm influencing really. And am I really making the most of that word? And how am I using my voice?
But you were so quick to realize and hone in on that,
It's
right?
because I realized when you said, this is the time where you jump on this. And also I think I've especially given a lot of light to South Asian empowerment on this platform. Because those are my roots.
Love
and it's where I come from. And, growing up, you watch Lily Singh and you watch, Lisa Koshy and all these amazing, talented brown girls. Yeah. And I always said to myself, I was like, why doesn't the UAE, who has the biggest Indian population, in a foreign country, why isn't there like a Call Her Daddy in Dubai? Or why isn't there like a superwoman in Dubai? And I was just... can't match up to them, the big shoes to fill in.
Oh, you're doing just fine.
Well, when we can have some of these girls in the room, then you can moderate. And
I would love to.
And I will say that I finally made it. Sonal's asking me questions now. Then I can say, so yeah, that was the inspiration. And I think I couldn't thank you enough. And I'll say this on camera and off camera. Sonal's the reason why we're here today. Well, now it's funny you mentioned this in the last question I asked you, but my next question was pertaining to that. If you had to, and I think this is a really interesting question. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you ever had to send your 25-year-old self a voice note and your 65-year-old self a voice note.
You swapped it. Okay.
Yeah. So 2 voice notes.
Okay.
What would you say to your 25-year-old self and what would you say to your 65-year-old self?
Okay.
And this is a little bit of a...
The 25-year-old self, stay on the long game. Because it pays back.
Yep.
Be patient. And don't compromise.
Yeah.
Don't compromise on what your dream is.
I love that.
To my 65-year-old self,
just a little food for thought.
Don't have any regrets.
Oh, I love that.
Just do it.
I love
do
that.
it. You know what you want to do.
That's amazing.
Just do it. Do not have that regret.
You're the second person that said it. I had Nimi in the chair last 2 weeks ago. And I asked her a similar question and she said to my future self, I'd just say, just sip that margarita, babe. And I was like, I love that. Like, because I come across so many people now that I've met that are a little elderly. And, they always say, I wish I could go back and do this differently. And I always say, but why?
Because, the biggest regret is, oh my God, why didn't I do it sooner?
Fine.
Why didn't... Whether it's retire or start another business or whatever it is, why didn't I do it sooner? That's the only regret. Not why did I do it? Why did it fail?
Or how could I have done it differently?
Why didn't I just do it sooner? So that procrastination is...
Now, I know what you mean. And I think that's where it hit me when you said do it. I was like, I have to do it now. If it's now, then it's never. And that kind of where it hit.
Yeah.
I'm
reading the 5-second rule, and it is that. It's
1,
2, 3, 4, 5. Do in that instant, make a decision.
That is
just make it.
And to anyone that's watching, obviously, solid advice. Please take notes because I think a lot of us in our 30s, and I'm in my 30s now, and I see a lot of my girlfriends, girl bosses. Everyone's launching a business. Everyone's a startup. Everyone's a co-founder or founder, and it's so inspiring to be around my friends now because. At least we're not pulling each other down in the sense.
Yes.
We're not.
I think
saying
that's
things
the
like,
biggest change of your generation.
Exactly.
Is you are lifting each other up, and I cannot tell you that was my biggest frustration
Yeah.
is women were so afraid
Yeah.
to do that for one another because of the insecurities
Yeah.
that came with it.
I mean, look at your story. Your best friend,
Yeah.
who's here, by the way. Literally, that's the story you told me. You both
Yeah.
manifested this for each other.
Yeah.
And so if you didn't have someone believing in you and vice versa and lifting yourself up and vice
And
versa.
that's one thing I will not compromise on. The people I have around me, and that's why I'm so comfortable to leave work, go home, go to my private life, is because that tribe, we get it.
Yeah.
And we're there for each other.
Yeah.
It may be just on one hand.
That's fine.
But
mine is definitely on one hand. And I've said this for the past 2 decades.
But those are your real
ride or dies.
Ride or dies.
Yeah.
You come up together, you share, you fail together, but it's whether it's thick or thin, it's important.
Amazing. And that's so beautiful. Well, I hope you're taking notes on all of these things. And now the last question before we move into our little surprise segment, which wanted to just kind of, I'm not going to say anything because it's the masala part of our segment. Now, what is one myth about the entertainment industry that you are really tired of hearing and you really want to change?
There's 2.
Okay, we'll have time for 2.
Yeah, do we have time for 2?
It's Sonal, we'll have time for 3. Okay.
So the first is, the entertainment industry, it's so dark and dirty and everyone is up to no good.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
It's because you can't judge the few that have done wrong and cast the same brush on an entire industry. You could do it for the tech industry. You could say, okay, Mark Zuckerberg has done this and crypto and Bezos has done this and he's treated his employees like this.
Yeah.
So you can't taint but look what tech has done for us.
True.
Right? Look how it's changed our life.
I mean, ChatGPT, I think, is my new best friend.
Look, I've always said this. In entertainment, unfortunately, we're not curing cancer.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
We're creating,
take it with a pinch of salt.
right? We're creating stories. We're narrating stories. We're shedding light. Music is laughter. Music is the biggest global connector. 100%. Madonna just had 2 million people in Rio
that is nuts.
Come together.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, this woman and what she's made of.
The light that Beyoncé shed when we did that show here, that the stereotypes that existed before, and she smashed through them because she came in, she performed, and we had a 70-piece female orchestra from here.
That is just incredible.
Right, there's so much light. What Coldplay did for Ileana and vice versa, and shedding light on Palestine.
Yeah.
There is so much good in this industry. So I'm tired with, because it's Diddy today and someone tomorrow.
Oh, well.
Why are you working in an industry that is so dark, etc.? Don't watch the movies.
Yeah.
Don't go to the cinema. Don't
and
jump on the podcast.
Try and watch less of the not so important news once in a while, I think.
Be informed. Make your decisions. You don't have to follow everyone.
Yeah.
There was once upon a time we listened to R. Kelly and now we don't. And that's okay.
Yeah, that really breaks my heart.
We're not bumping and grinding to him anymore. But it's okay.
Talk for yourself, girl. I'm okay.
I know, right? and the second, I think the second thing is that everyone in this industry is a diva.
Oh.
And, the writers are insane. No, I wouldn't do it. I don't have the mental capacity to do what I do, to do what the company does if it was that.
I get it.
Awful and difficult. The best people I've worked with are the most inspirational people that I've taken so much away from.
Wow.
We keep our team lean and mean because I've learnt.
Yeah.
I've learnt from how Kevin Hart or Mariah Carey, who's the only singer, forget female singer, that from the age she entered the industry, age of 16, she owns entire publishing rights. Taylor Swift did not and got into the mess with Scooter Braun.
Some people are just really smart.
Beyonce did not have a rider when we did her show.
That's insane.
That's not what she cares about.
Yeah.
She cares about rehearsing 7 days a week to get that show to where it was.
I mean, that's where the famous Beyonce quote comes from, right? If Beyonce can do it in a day, you can do it in a month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are myths I don't care for. So, I worked with one person. She was a nightmare. Never worked with her again. But that's across 25 years.
Yeah.
So,
but then I guess in every sort of span and phase in your life, you will come across a couple of Tweedledees and Tweedledums.
Yeah.
And,
And you know better. You're like,
yeah.
thank you.
And respectfully, no. Now, Sonal, we're done with all the seriousness. And this is what I like to call the respectfully masala segment because, everyone likes a little jalapeno in their nachos once in a while.
Exactly. Little chaat.
A little chaat masala. Keeping it spicy. So this is what we call the respectfully no rapid fire round.
No rapid fire round.
So you will get 3 questions. You will get 3 seconds to answer each question.
Okay.
And you can only answer with a yes or a respectfully no.
Like we need a buzzer.
And I need to bring a buzzer the next time. Take notes, Jay. And also, you can give it a little context if you just want to clear the air.
Okay.
So I'll give you a few more seconds just, to clear the air for context. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay, let's go. Sonal, saying yes to deals that look cool for the gram but are not on
Respectfully, no.
Okay, I couldn't even finish my question. Context?
Who cares about the gram when you're trying to make this
I
real?
love that she said that. Why do we forget that we're all, gonna make bread, guys? Okay, love that. Anyways, number 2, outgrowing places or people with no guilt. Respectfully, yes or no?
Respectfully, no.
Okay, I love that. And
Oh, wait, no. Wait.
Outgrowing places or people with no guilt. Is that a yes or a respectfully no?
It's a respectfully yes it's a respectfully yes. I'm okay with doing that.
Yeah.
Did I use the yes and the no in the right context?
A little bit. You said no because I don't know how I would feel in that situation as
no,
well.
No. Yes, but I didn't get the question.
Outgrowing people and places without feeling guilt. Is that a yes to you or a
that's a
respectfully
yes.
no? Okay, that's a yes. So that is a respectfully yes. And then the last thing to end this really, really lovely segment. Are we people pleasing in 2025?
I don't think we were people pleasing 2020.
There you go. So,
respectfully, no.
Okay, amazing. And I think I wanted to end with that because, like you said, the myths about the entertainment industry where people feel like you just have to look, act, and behave a certain way for the camera. That's why I said for the gram, for a brand,
I think people respect you if you are genuinely, authentically yourself.
I love that.
I've had to do it with talent where I've said respectfully, we cannot provide this.
Yeah.
Respectfully, we cannot do this.
Yeah.
Respectfully, you are not getting a private jet. Where's your carbon footprint mindset? Where's this? Where's that?
Yeah.
It's if there's a reason you can't fly commercial, 110%.
Of course.
But respectfully, no. And once you explain it with logic, you're often going to get the answer that you want.
That's amazing.
But you have to also, talent are talent. They're people at the end of the day. If you respect them in that capacity, it's going to be okay.
Well, Sonal, I cannot thank you enough for being here today with me. And
I
not
loved
just
it.
today, but for the past few years.
I wish you all the success.
You are
and
the
all the
absolute best. And again, like I said in the beginning, the way you've inspired me, and I really, really hope that a lot of people that have seen this, little segment that we've done today feel the exact same the way I've always felt about Sonal. And I cannot wait to see what more you have coming up your sleeve for 2025 and 6.
It's exciting. You'll be invited.
I'm excited. Cannot wait.
Mum will be invited.
Amazing.
Aisha, I love you.
Amazing. Oh man, yes, we all do love you, mother. But thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
More power to you always.
Thank you.